All right, welcome to Notes 8.3 Part 2. The first part was nothing but vocab. This part is putting that vocab into use. All right, so this first section I have complementary angles. What do we know about complementary angles? Well, they add up to 90 degrees, right? So if I have angles R and Q are complementary, and angle R is 33 degrees, find Q. So I'll say R plus Q complementary. That means they have to equal 90 degrees. Well, I know R is 33 degrees. Plus Q is equal to 90 degrees. What am I essentially doing? I'm just subtracting 33 degrees from both sides. All right, so Q is equal to 90 minus 33. And in that case, we get our answer of 57 degrees. All right, you could always check by taking your answer, plugging it back in, and saying, okay, is 57 plus 33 equal to 90? Because they were supposed to be complementary. That means they had to add up to 90 degrees. And in fact, indeed, 57 plus 33 is 90. So you know you're right. All right, go ahead and label these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll be asking an ed puzzle for you guys to do some on your own. All right, angles R and Q are complementary again, so that we know they add up to 90 degrees, right? Angle R is 30 degrees and angle Q is 3x. Find x, okay? So they want us to solve for x. So R plus Q we know equals 90 degrees because it said it was complementary, right? R they gave us was 30 degrees. Q they gave us was 3x. And we know they add up to 90 degrees. So what do we have? We just have a two-step equation. So subtract 30 from both sides. We get 3x is equal to 60. We divide by 3, and x is equal to 20. So notice very carefully here. X is equal to 20. That is not the measure of Q. If I wanted to find out the angle measure of Q, the angle measure of Q, angle Q would be equal to 3x, or 3 times what x was. X was 20. So the angle of Q would be equal to 60 degrees. But the problem clearly said find x, which we did. If the problem said find angle Q, then you would say 60 degrees was your answer. All right, now, in problem number 5, sometimes they give us a diagram instead of words, and it just says solve for the missing angle. Well, if we see a right angle, we should know right away, hey, these two angles are complementary. That means they add up to 90 degrees. So what I will say is 32 plus angle B, because that's the missing angle, is equal to 90 degrees, right? So we have a chunk of 32. We'll subtract that from 90 degrees, and we'll get our answer. Easy one-step equation. So angle B is equal to 58 degrees. A little kind of 0 right there is the degree symbol, okay? Number 7, now we're on to supplementary angles. So supplementary angles, if you recall, add up to 180 degrees. So I have 7, 8, let's make this 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and 14. Okay, so angles W and V are supplementary. Angle W is 120. Find the measure of V. So supplementary we know equal to 180. So W plus V is equal to 180. Why? Because they're supplementary. We knew that W was 120 plus V is equal to 180. So we just subtract 120 from both sides, and we get what V is, 180 minus 120, which is 60 degrees. Angle N is equal to 100 degrees. Angle B is equal to 5x. What I didn't tell you is that they are supplementary, so we'll just assume since it's in the supplementary angles category that they'll supplementary. So find x and find angle B. So there should be two answers to this. Find out what x is and what angle B is. All right, so we have N plus B is equal to 180 degrees. Why 180? Because they're supplementary. N was 100 degrees plus B was 5x is equal to 180. So it's a two-step equation. Subtract 100 from both sides. You get 5x is equal to 80. Divide by 5. And you get your first answer, which is x is 16. Now for angle B, the measure of angle B, you take its expression, 5x, and you plug in what x was. So it's not 5x, it's 5 times 16. Sorry. And 5 times 16 is 80 degrees. So your two answers are x is equal to 16 and angle B is 80 degrees. All right, and lastly, again, sometimes they give us a diagram, so notice it's a little bit more difficult to find out what a supplementary angle is, but if you have a straight line like this, you know straight angles add up to 180 degrees. So this whole section has to add up to 180, right? So these are supplementary, so that means 141 plus B has to equal 180 degrees. So what do? I just subtract 141 from both sides, and I get my answer of B is equal to 39 degrees. All right, and lastly, we know vertical angles are equal to each other. So we can set this up as this angle is going to be equal to this angle. So 52 will equal 6x plus 4. Basically, we know, hey, this is going to have to be 52 degrees. What value of x will make it 52 degrees? Well, we'll just solve with a two-step equation. We subtract 4 from both sides. We get 48 is equal to 6x. We then divide by 6. 48 divided by 6 is 8. So x is equal to 8. There's your answer, and that's the end of part 2.